There are some questions on the topic of child abuse that can only be answered by the people who committed the heinous acts, and we're not going to shy away from that tonight. Some of what you're about to hear is tough to listen to, as a man we're calling Jeff recounts how he groomed a child for abuse.
I hate myself every day when I wake up, knowing what I've done to my daughter, not knowing whether she's going to grow up with the same issues I had, which I pray every day that she doesn't.
He's 36 years old, labeled a level 2 sex offender. In 2007, he pleaded guilty to first-degree sexual abuse. He's a father of 4, with a baby on the way.
Why did you agree to do this interview?
My main thing is to help educate people so that no other child has to go through what I put my own child through.
Jeff says he was abused from the ages of 7 to 11 by a man, a school counselor, who was tracking his learning disabilities.
He knew that I loved horses, and he owned horses. So he would give me a picture of one of his horses, or he would give me my favorite candy bar, things like that.
He had you?
He had me. Right up to the age of 11.
The scar that was left behind changed everything. Love, in his mind, was only possible through sexual gratification. And that mindset would play out in horrifying fashion years later. A marriage, multiple affairs. And when his wife was emotionally and sexually unavailable because she was battling deep depression, he saw his 10-year-old adopted daughter as a suitable replacement. To hear him tell it, the little girl adored him. He was daddy in every way, right up until the time the child walked in as he was spending another night with his addiction, pornography.
She saw what was on TV, and she looked at me and she said, "Daddy, what's that man, or what's that woman doing to that man?" And I said, "Well, that's how a man or a woman shows that she loves a man." And she just kind of looked at it and got a little confused. And then I knew at that point what I needed to say to get her attention. And I said, "Do you love Daddy?" She turned around and she said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Well, are you going to show me the way she's showing him?" And then I proceeded to lead her through the process of oral sex.
The months leading up to the start of the abuse involved intense grooming. Jeff was using all the tools at his disposal to groom the child and those around her.
I'm her father. I should be trusted to be left alone with her. So whether it be she's coming out into my workshop to help me work on a project, or my wife is taking my oldest son to Cub Scouts, I know she's gone. I'm there watching her. I have the perfect opportunity to release my sexual inhibitions. The biggest thing is that anybody can be groomed. Anybody.
People won't believe that. They won't believe that.
I groomed my wife. I groomed my parents. I groomed my daughter. I even groomed the situations to fit my needs.
What does that mean, though?
That means by acting a certain way. One of the things was I was always in church. I was in church every weekend. Never missed it. I was never in any other trouble, other than maybe a couple speeding tickets. Earned people's trust. Acting a certain way in front of people so that they view you as just another great dad.
Now an ankle monitoring device tracks his every move. Parole comes with a host of restrictions, and he wants every parent and everyone who feels protective of a child to know this.
A lot of the reason why I got away with what I did for so long was because no one else paid that much attention to her. So you want to keep your kid from going through this, have a good relationship with him, talk to him, get to know your child. Get to know their quirks, their movements. Because when you notice a difference in them, then you'll know that there's something going on.
Through his court-ordered therapy, he's able to express how sickening his power and control over the child was.
I used her love for me to keep her from saying anything. By saying, you know what? If you say anything, Daddy's gonna go to prison. You won't see Daddy again.
That is so hard to hear.
Just imagine how it felt to a 10-year-old girl.
Jeff is now in court-ordered therapy at New Step Professional Counseling Services of Syracuse, where the ultimate goal is to reduce the risk a person in treatment will reoffend. The interview I did with him had the blessing of the staff there and his parole officer.
Law enforcement agents and human service caseworkers who work to protect our children are a special breed. These first responders see and hear the damage done by child abuse and neglect. Their investigations lead to help for families and criminal charges for those who inflict the abuse. I had a chance to listen to the stories of what these investigators and caseworkers see and how they deal with it.
Drug abuse occurring in the home, ongoing domestic violence that is occurring in front of the children, a lack of supervision, lack of medical care, excessive corporal punishment.
She's seen the marks left on children. She feels the invisible scars that children carry with them. Erin Giacini has a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old of her own.
As a parent, I am more overprotective of my children than your average parent would be because I do see so much. There's been many times where my children are out playing and I'm constantly right there with them. And my husband is saying, would you just let them be a child there and just let them play? But I'm always hovering because I do see a lot and I want to protect them.
After 12 years as a child protective caseworker, Erin finds it nearly impossible not to take the job home every night. The same could be said for the detectives of the Abused Persons Unit of the Syracuse Police Department. Most of them have been doing this for quite a while, 15 years, some of them.
The detectives are some very special people. They're the ones that, day in and day out will sit down and talk to children about subjects that most parents are very, very uncomfortable talking to their own children about. And they've got the skills, the abilities, and the aptitude to walk into a room, spend a couple of minutes letting a child become comfortable with them, and then letting that, and bringing forth information that's critical to an investigation. And getting a child to be willing to offer that information to someone that 15 minutes ago maybe was an entire stranger to them. And those are some pretty incredible skills. And they do a great job at it, and they do it day in and day out.
And when each difficult day draws to a close?
I think each one has how they deal with it. I mean, sometimes it may involve going out for a 4-mile run, at the end of the day just to get some exercise and clear your head.
Erin Giacini would like to clear away some misconceptions.
Often if you see a movie and you see a child protective worker in a movie, you see them knocking on a door and then swooping in and taking a child out of the home. And that's not how it works.
Removal of a child from their home is a last resort. The first job is to help a family sort through some very sensitive issues.
When we go out to the homes as a child protective worker, we're not the police. We don't carry weapons. We don't have guns. We're knocking on doors not knowing what's going to be on the other side of that door. All I have when I go out there is my county ID badge saying, I'm from Child Protective. A lot of times we're greeted with a lot of anger towards us, embarrassment, and it's important as a caseworker to put yourself in these people's shoes, understanding where they're coming from.
Erin and other caseworkers make a lot of referrals for substance abuse treatment and domestic violence counseling. If finding a ride for a family's an issue, she'll deliver meals from a food pantry if need be, anything to help victims of child abuse and their families stabilize. Every case, Erin says, is unique and needs to be treated that way.
Child abuse inflicts a toll that grows with time as girls become women and boys grow into men. It's hard to believe 1 in 4 girls are sexually abused. 1 in 6 boys are attacked this way. The vast majority of those cases goes unreported. That means there are adults walking around every day carrying a secret they never planned to reveal.
I kept my secret for 40 years, and And I thought I would take it to my grave, I think like a lot of men who have their secrets.
Finally, one day, I gave up my secret, and I never thought that would happen. I thought I would go to my grave with that secret. It was that important to me that nobody knew.
Dan Leonard and Wayne Palmer, they each lived with their secret from the first moment they were abused during adolescence until well into their adult lives. And they paid a substantial price with strained family relationships, depression, and alcoholism. Wayne was a 13-year-old boy on Syracuse's south side. Two strangers enticed him with cigarettes and beer to come to their apartment.
I did get drunk, got very drunk, and after I became drunk, one of the men forcibly raped me. And you know, I went home, and I felt like I had done something wrong. After all, I was out drinking beer, smoking cigarettes, things I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I was completely humiliated by the experience, felt a lot of shame, like I really did something awful, that it was about me, something bad I did.
Wayne's self-esteem was so low as a teen, he attempted suicide. As an adult, he couldn't stand to look at younger pictures of himself. In fact, he took some of them and tore them up and threw them away. It wasn't until the sex abuse scandals of the Catholic Church became exposed that Wayne started feeling the obvious effects of keeping a secret for 40 years.
I began having nightmares, intrusive memories. I became very depressed, and I just thought I was falling apart.
What did that mean to be depressed? Like, well, how did that manifest itself? You didn't want to get out of bed?
Yeah, all those kinds of things. No energy, no interest in anything. I started drinking very heavily. Drinking became a big part of my life at that time.
Wayne finally told his wife, the first to learn his secret after all those years. He still has a long road ahead.
Start trying to undo all the damage that was done from what happened to me, that there wasn't anything wrong with me, that I don't have anything to be ashamed of, and it wasn't my fault. It was all easy things to say, hard things to believe, about when you've believed it all your life.
I've been in what I call recovery for 17 years now, and I held that secret for 25 years.
Dan Leonard's secret is different than Wayne's. The Jerry Sandusky Penn State case recently triggered difficult memories for him. He was 11 years old, victimized repeatedly over a couple of years by a man who befriended his family by being around an acclaimed boys football program in Pittsburgh.
He's a lot smarter than you are. He's done this before. He's got a routine. The first day it happened, we were washing and waxing his car. He gave me 2 or 3 beers.
His abuser started talking about sex. Leonard remembers being uncomfortable, but at 11 years old, he didn't know what to do.
Then he made me take a shower. He said that he wouldn't, that I was sweaty from the work and that he wouldn't take me home like that. So that's how he pushed me into that. Then he got in the shower, then he gave me a massage, then it happened. It went like that.
From that moment on, Dan felt trapped by his secret. He risked further embarrassment and shame if he revealed it to anyone. Yet 25 years later, with his marriage and his family hanging in the balance, he saw a therapist who drew him out.
She immediately told me that I was only a child, that I had no control of the situation. A lot of things that sound pretty basic and pretty simple, but were very important for me to hear at that time. But I was devastated. I was just extremely upset and overwhelmed.
He was relieved, but had yet to reach his darkest days as he shared his secret little by little. It took 2 years to flip his life from upside down to right side up.
One of the tasks that I've undertaken is to reach out to other victims out there who are holding their secrets, to tell them to pick up the phone and ask for help. Tell somebody. tell somebody about the secret, and then get some help.
There are men out there, I am sure, who are keeping it a secret and think it's not a problem, even though they don't want to talk about it. The more that come forward and can be open about it, the more likely we are to prevent future child abuse.
For the people out there who are in sports organizations, you can't sweep this stuff under the rug. You've got to do something about it. If you see a coach who is taking children in a one-on-one situation, that's a sign, and you've got to do something about it. You can't just think, oh, it doesn't happen. Oh, he's a nice guy, he would never do that. All these guys are nice guys. That's how they get access to children.
The pain these adults feel manifests itself in depression, anger, and a vacuum of self-esteem. Those feelings often lie beneath the surface until a trigger sets them loose. Those who counsel adult child abuse survivors believe sharing that dark secret is the best way for victims to take control of their recovery. It all begins with helping them embrace the truth that what happened to them was not their fault.
We've covered a lot of ground in this hour. We have only scratched the surface of what can be a hard thing to talk about.
So much of what each of us can do to help comes down to knowing where resources are and knowing how to respond when you think a child is at risk.
So we invite you to explore some of the assets available in Central New York that assist families responding to harm against children. Children who are likely closer to you than you know.
We encourage you to take down the number for the New York State Child Abuse Hotline. A simple call to 1-800-342-3720 may help you aid a child who cannot protect themselves.
Each of us has the ability to expand our view and to see the signs of sexual, emotional, or physical abuse. Doing this improves our communities. It's a greater commitment to protecting our children.
If you suspect a child may be suffering from abuse or neglect, there are several resources available in our region for you to get help for that child. The New York Child Abuse Hotline is 1-800-342-3720. The Onondaga County Abuse Hotline is 315-422-9701. Vera House offers a 24-hour crisis and support line for parents who believe their child may be the victim of sexual abuse. That number is 315-422-7273. And for more information about the McMahon-Ryan Child Advocacy Center, visit mcmahonryan.org or call 701-2985.